Alright, what's going on everyone? We are working with carbon fiber and opal ring today. We have wonderful carbon fiber tubes that we can make into any size we want. So easy enough. This tube we're going to mark 8 millimeters and we're going to cut an 8 millimeter ring. And we have a nice diamond bit saw, little 6-inch saw. Really nice. I'll add water, make sure it doesn't ruin my saw, and just cuts really easily, as well as keeps all the carbon fiber dust from going all everywhere. So we'll slide that in real easily, get that 8 millimeter cut. And here we go. There's our 8 millimeter piece, so we'll put that aside. And we'll take the opal and just cut the opal now. Sorry, our grape fan, the opal, just a nice purple opal, and we'll cut a little piece off of here. Same thing with the water, we want it just nice smooth cut, so we'll add a little bit of water for that. And we'll just snap that piece off so it doesn't go flying. And we'll cut that piece in half. Probably get into like a 1.5 gram piece. 1.73. I just cut that in half just to show you that this ring is going to use about 0.5 gram. We just measure that up. So got the opal ready. Now we just need to go back to the carbon fiber. We're going to make the hole bigger. The easiest way I found is just these big hole drill bits at the end of the lathe, again with water. Make sure it doesn't get too hot, and we'll just start on a slow or a small bit, get in there, and then we'll just go up to the bit closest to the size that we want. So we got one size up, do the same thing. Again, just adding water, making sure it doesn't get too hot. And then the last one ends with the 3/4 of an inch. We're looking for like a size 9, so that's really close to the 3/4 of an inch bit. And it just goes in there super smooth. And that's it, that's easy enough. The inside of our tube is done. Just got to clean that out a bit and we're good to go. Interesting here, we'll just sand the outside until we get it thin enough. We'll check the thickness and we'll just keep sanding. See, the other one's way thinner still, so we'll just keep sanding the outside of the carbon fiber till it's to the thickness we want. And to show you how strong the carbon fiber is, here's a normal lathe tool. I'm trying to put a gap in there. So normal lathe tool is not going to work very well or at all. So I actually just took out my Dremel and have a round diamond bit on there. It is going, and so we'll just use that to cut out our groove. Makes it a lot easier. Not too bad. You just need to make sure that when it's going that it is not rolling around, because you could ruin your gap if you don't keep that very steady. So we'll get it to the depth we want. We want a nice good depth, and then we'll clean out the sides with sandpaper so that we have squared edges. It'll help with the inlay a little bit later on. Alright, going back to our opal, we have it crushed up now with the hammer. We're using black CA glue. Matches with the ring, so when the inlay's in there, it'll look nice and full. So we start with some big pieces, just get it all over the place, and once the big pieces are all around, we will then go and crush up half of this. Again, we're only using a little more than 0.5 gram is that pile, so we'll go ahead and take half that pile and then crush it up into dust. I'm using an anvil, some toilet paper cardboard, and just gonna crush it into tiny dust. Opal still will look really good as dust, it'll still sparkle and shine. So we got the tiny dust, and we're gonna first fill in all the gaps, get it as deep as we can onto that black CA glue. sure to get it packed in there. Once we go all the way around to the black CA, we'll again go around the ring. This time we're going to fill it in and add some thin CA to it as the final inlay part. So we're just again filling in all the gaps between the larger pieces. Make sure to tapping it in, adding a little bit of CA glue, and just go around the whole ring like that. Then we fill, once we're done with this, you'll see we're going to add a few drops of CA at the last part. Put it on the mandrel and just let it spin. So the CA will fill in all the gaps. Make sure we don't have any air bubbles or gaps when we're finishing. And then once the couple of drops dry, bring it to the lathe, take the Dremel and just smooth it out so we don't have a lopsided ring. So I'm just getting it all pretty even before we take the sandpaper and turn it on. Makes it easier to sand and swell in the end. From there we'll take, I think 80 or 120 will both do the trick, and we'll just sand that down. Sand the inlay until it is even with the carbon fiber. Take a couple looks here. We'll turn the lathe off and check the inlay. We don't want to keep going on one side if one side is not flush. So I'm just going to clean that up by hand, make it more flush. And then once that's cleaned up, we'll get going again with the lathe. So at that point, I'll go 120, 150, 220, just go up in the grits until we get a nice shine. Just rounding off the edges now. Make sure it's a nice round edge. It's not going to cut or hurt anybody as they wear it. I'm doing that with 220. And up to 400, you can see the opal starting to get a little shinier, as well as the carbon fiber starting to look really good. As I'm looking at it, I'm noticing there are some air bubbles in there. And so to make sure that the opal is completely sealed, I'm going to put it on a really low speed and drop a couple of drops of CA glue on there and just let it roll until it dries and fills in all the gaps. That'll seal the opal and make it look real good. And then we'll go through the grits again. Once that glue is done drying, we'll go through all the grits. This time we're going to go all the way up to the final finish. I just barely got, this is a 2000, I just barely got some mesh pads to try as well. And those go all the way up to a 12,000 grit. So I'm just gonna go one by one using these mesh pads. There's like 9 different grits, starting with 2200 and up to 12,000. Probably not completely necessary, but gives it a really good, nice shine, nice clean finish at the end. focus just a little bit out, hard to see, but once we get all the grits, throw it through the polisher and just get that looking real shiny, real good. Once we are done with the outside, just put it in some jaws and get the inside. We're not really taking anything off, we're just kind of polishing the inside and rounding the corners. So we're gonna use just a 400 grit, will do that really well. So around the corners and polish the inside with a 400 and 800. Doesn't need to be shiny like the outside to look good. And we'll turn around, do the same thing, round out the edges, 400 and 800. Easy enough, the inside is now done. Actually, the whole ring's done now. We'll wash it, take a look. Turned out pretty great, I think. So again, that's carbon fiber and a purple opal. So everything you see in the video is available on our website, shopdreamwood.com. Got opal pieces, carbon fiber pieces, and easy enough. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed.